What's going on, guys? It's me, Train Man, and welcome back to the Zombie Train. This is an op session. Yes, thank you, River Song. We are on the 2-foot gauge in Waterville. If you recall, we built this a little while ago. And we're just getting ready to leave. We've got this load of logs and a coach and a combine, which I wish I'd turned the combine around because I found out you can stand on the front platform, back, front, whatever platform, depending on which way you point it, and right now it's pointed the wrong way. So, we end up just staring at the back of a coach. Oh well. But anyways, we're gonna get out of here. I have an engine named River Song. This is part of this giant pack of British stuff that I have. We'll be seeing a little bit of it later, but it's largely going to be just for op sessions and stuff because, well, it's just not appropriate for the Iron Horsemen, really. It's the wrong country. Unfortunately, a lot of the, speaking of wrong anything, unfortunately the couplers aren't the same throughout this entire train. Of course, the British stuff has hook couplers, the flat cars that we have Lincoln pin, and the SR and RL stuff, which is at the end of the train, I don't know what that says, at the end of the train has actual knuckles. So, whoops. Oh well, just doesn't work out. So we're going to try and get out of here. We are going to head out from Waterville Island to the Drumlin Field, and then we're going to cut over to the new section of the line, the river line up to Providence. After that, we are going to be meeting with a train there, which is going to take these logs out. Or, well, I didn't actually run through the procedure because I was kind of running late anyways, so I made the train full of logs and continued. But these are the farms of Waterville. Of course, we've been here before. We spent our time building it, and eventually this is the level of detail that's going to go into the rest of the map, rest of the area. You know, we haven't done a lot, and we're not going to be seeing the whole thing. So we've got the signal. Signal is green. Green means go. Green for glory. And I need to name these turnouts. That's something I've been meaning to do. But this engine has more than enough power. Oh, thank you. This engine has more than enough power to get us through the Drumlin Field, no problem. And it, in fact, does a lot better than I expected it to in the speed department. It's a 2-foot gauge engine, which means it, of course, has tiny little wheels. But the running gear is apparently really up to snuff. Soon enough, I think I'm going to just throw it in full forward, and we're going to be blasting off the island momentarily. Adjustment of the reverser to see how fast we can get this thing to go. Try and make it in record time. So here we are coming at like 35, 40 miles an hour over the bridge. This bridge needs to be replaced with the main 2-foot high trestle because it's a little bit more high res. But we're leaving the island here. Quite a place to stand. You can see into the coach there are some Western-looking passengers in there. And you can see our speed up there in the top left. Top right, rather. Unfortunately, I can't. I just have to go off memory, because the little preview... The little preview is too blurry for me to actually see what's going on. Dodging these shrubs here on the track. We're going to get grass in here eventually, but that'll come later. So here we are at Worcester. There's our train right there, and this is just a little Bagnall engine with a pair of coaches. He's probably just waiting to go to Waterville right there, or he's going to follow us to, well, he can't follow us to Providence on that track. Haven't replaced the switch stands here, but could be worse. Here we are at this bridge that we worked on a short time ago, coming around the corner there. That speed is a little bit screechy. And that could be a little bit better. This train certainly likes to, you know, screech a bunch. That right there will be the line down to the pit of death. Maybe we can utilize that in a future op session. We are running along where we actually have the water. We worked on this. So we've got the valley here. Some waterfalls, of course. You can still hear that waterfall. It's way, way down there. I do love the cab on these engines, though. I was looking for the injector. I found it eventually. There it is. Coming around this corner here, I wanted to look at the gradients, because I noticed we'd sped up a little bit. This thing had pretty much just tanked the grades up over this, so that was pretty impressive. And through the drumlin field as well. That was pretty good. So we're gonna come around the base of the mountain here and head inwards towards our destination, for this train at least. We aren't really halfway through this section with this locomotive, however. I tried to make it a little bit even, but as to who got in the spotlight for what amount of time, but I don't really think it worked out like that. However, I'm trying to hypothesize what this area will look like when I get all the grass and trees in. I don't want there to be any sort of visual obstructions from the line down to the river down there, so I might use sparse trees, maybe speed trees, and of course grass splines all over the place. Ones that maybe aren't too performance demanding. Going up here to check on where we go. We're about to hit area with we're about to hit some area with grass. At least ground cover. Here we are. We crossed the road now. We're paralleling the road into Providence. It's amazing how far we can get and still be able to hear that. This is Providence, by the way. We'll get a better look at it later, but if I recall, I'm trying to see, well, myself off in the distance. Didn't quite work out. Running at half throttle and the cutoff very, very high means that the boiler is free to sort of blow off steam pretty much all the time. I do... I like it when the track parallels a road. that we're gonna go and get a better look at the this here, because you know it does look kind of cool. I am really a fan of when you have the roads and rails running side by side with cars. Maybe especially so when it's 2-foot gauge, because it's just so adorable. I'm gonna lean out of the vestibule and see if we can see any cars going by. Fortunately, there's nobody in that other coach. Oh, there was a car. You can still blow the whistle from back here. Excuse me, passing on your left. Realize that the engine is nowhere near the car, so we're not sort of signaling the driver at all. But here we come into Providence, which is a fairly small town. Used to be a little bit bigger, but it lost a lot of its population when the 2-foot gauge started to dwindle and when they rerouted the main line. But that was a while ago. Come to a stop here maybe a little too quickly. I would have backed in and dropped the logs off. They get dropped off over there by the pulp mill and are actually using the power station roller transferred to the standard gauge through, I should probably add some sort of building or at least some sort of log stands there, giving the whole town a little once-over, looking over the place. We've got Rangeley in the engine house there. We're going to hitch on with the first named engine we're going to be working with today, and his name is Lee. The mogul from the east. A little far from home, but hey, this is where we are. Providence on the Iron Horsemen Railway. You may notice that in my time of letting him sit here, he's sort of lost all boiler pressure, and that's not great, but that's just the way it is right now. Hopefully we'll be able to make some of that back on the trip. Here we are, we're going to be leaving Providence here, bound for Troy, which is all the way down what was formerly the main line. The grade is about 0.5% down through the entire thing. We've got, of course, a bobbler sitting on the back end there, and the cab is very green. You can see that extra spur there sort of runs up to the pulp mill. That's where the logs are transferred over. Looks like everything's green except that. There we are. Signal says we're good to go. Little Pensy position light. We're going to be heading out here. Oh. Man, I didn't realize that thing made so much noise. Steam chest is very low. I would have had more going on here, but, well, I decided to fill the yard, and I ran out of time and didn't fill any of the other yards, except for the one in, Waterville. And I was just sort of showing, hey look, the boiler pressure is really low. from here we actually have to go up a short ways first. There's a little bit of a hump before we start heading downhill. And it's the only thing that really keeps rivers from flowing from really flowing through town. There isn't anywhere they could go, and there isn't anywhere they could come from, because we're surrounded more or less by either very flat areas or hills on almost all sides. So Providence was formed as a natural meeting point of railroads and a natural helper point, but not as, any sort of settlement around a river or anything like that. It isn't a very old town. It appeared with the railroad. But then again, so did a lot of things. So did pretty much everything around here. Here we are a little while later. We're heading downhill now. We're breaking the speed limit a little bit, but that's okay. It's not by very much. And we're about to head out onto a flat section, so that'll help us a little bit as well. Lee, now that he's got some boiler pressure back, is doing pretty well at handling all these cars. Although they really aren't, the only ones that are loaded are the log cars. We've got a handful of passengers in the P-70, which is not one of the air-conditioned ones. We've got an empty boxcar that would otherwise be filled with goods, but it wouldn't let me fill it. And we've got a pair of empty covered hoppers, and we've got some full log cars, which of course are logs brought in from Waterville on the barges, transferred to the 2-foot gauge, and then transferred to the standard gauge. Not too long from now, they shut down the 2-foot gauge almost completely. And, when they finished the auto road into Waterville is when they kind of could do that. Anyways, so here we are at the Kansas Culvert. Reason I decided to call it the Kansas Culvert has nothing to do with the history of the map. It has something to do with the fact that if you look up the waterfall in little ways, you can see the end of the world, and the water sort of flows off the edge of the world right there, and so it reminded me of the point of no return by Kansas, and if you've ever seen that album cover. Alright, so I'm looking over here because we got some notifications. Just sort of wondering what's up. Pretty soon we're going to come around this corner, and my screensaver decided to turn on and I can't see a damn thing. We're going to come around this corner and we're going to meet Blount. And he'll be waiting for us. He's an AI. He's run by an AI right now. Some glamour shots of Lee here. Any models I show off and name are the models that are going to be used in the Iron Horsemen Chronicles, so this is your leg up as to what that is, and this map is for them as well. So there we go. We slowed down a little bit. In fact, I sort of had a jam on the brakes because there was a panic moment and Blount would not unlock the junction, so I had to manually make him back up a little bit, shut down his schedule, unlock the junction, flip the junction to where it was supposed to be, which I'd already done off camera, but he decided to flip it back and then lock it, which is something I'm looking into. Because I need to figure out how to fix that. Short of making the trains run by AI. Running on the passing siding, of course, because we are a lower priority train than Blount is. He's carrying wood chips to the pulp mill and taking up some empty cars. He's also taking up goods for the town, or lumber actually, not goods. Oh, that was in the video. I was like, what just disconnected? This is the only area of the map, except for Troy itself, that still has Pensy position lights on it. They were what came in and originally replaced the semaphores, but quickly they were outmoded by color lights, which we're going to see a little bit later. Also, the headlight refused to turn on after that incident. I don't know why. Maybe I broke it. It's the weight of our... See, I was trying to turn it on manually right there. You can see the weight of our train there. How much trouble this little mogul was having with that right at the beginning, when he only had maybe 15 pounds of boiler pressure. Check on Blount. Make sure everything's still running fine. He's going a little bit slow, probably because he didn't have complete clearance all the way through. Make sure he's got enough coal to finish the journey, which he does. So no biggie there, no problem there. Switching back to Lee. We're going to be heading towards... We should be heading towards the valley and the old stone bridge, which is one of the only bridges that wasn't replaced during the time that this route was done, the other one being the viaduct. Nobody in their right mind would go out of their way to spend the money to replace that damn viaduct because it's so long. But they were all stone at one point, and it's kind of shoddy, actually. They were replaced by girder bridges. Or not girder bridges, but truss bridges. Girder bridges in one case. They were stone-pillared, sort of post and beam. But this was done with arches, as was the viaduct. So this one's survived. There's the point of no return right there. I should probably edit that, make sure you can't see the edge of the map. Unfortunately, the ubiquitous problems with water physics in trains, which are that it refuses to flow down, sort of prevents me from doing very much with the rivers, other than keeping them at a static level. You see how much trouble we've been having getting the river to follow the 2-foot gauge. So a little while later, we went through a horseshoe tunnel, and we're coming out to the industrial park, which is long since abandoned. But it was, well, it was active during the Fontaine Wars, which were in the 30s. And that's pretty much... this universe is World War I, basically. We're going by on the main line because there's nothing else to worry about here. Normally it's, this is where Hank would hang out, but I decided not to add him. Decided not to put him in there. Didn't really think of it. Of course, we're still heading down at a 0.5% grade, and that's all the old industrial buildings. You know, been vandalized, been just left to rot for about 20 years. A little less than that, but more or less 2 decades. And we are cleared through the signal and onto the Serpentine over the over one of these girder bridges here, or truss bridges. It's a truss bridge. It used to be a girder bridge when I was first building the map, and then I swapped it out because I like these guys better. We're heading into the Serpentine, which is really not that special, all things considered. There used to be a much steeper grade that led off the edge of the Serpentine, sort of prevented it from existing. And when they brought the industrial park in, when they built the industrial park, there were plans to sort of cut it off, and they almost did, but they didn't actually. Oh, I could have taken time to do that. They demolished the bridge and moved it. Anyways, here we are coming into Troy. Troy's one of the bigger cities there is. Doesn't have a particularly huge station because, well, they frankly couldn't fit it. The station used to be over here, and when they built the main line again, they moved the station and realized then that they couldn't fit much of a station, so they just went with 3 tracks. Also, it's sandwiched evenly between 2 roads because well, foresight is a beautiful thing, and they didn't have any of it. We're going to be meeting with Johnson here, and any passengers that are heading down and off the map are going to be transferring trains. You can see the curves are a little bit disagreeable. Need to adjust some speed limits on this route, but we're going to get there. We're going to come in and stop very shortly. Although I decided to cut it because I found out that in the time that we'd been letting Johnson idle here, he ran out of steam as well. So there wasn't really any option in continuing. I had to back out of the scenario and come back and start it again. Ignore the stupid music. It's from something I decided to put down because it sort of looked like a Christmas tree, and, yeah. Alright, well, here we go. From the injectors, and get ready to leave. Hopefully we have everyone aboard. Signal is a vertical line, which means go. And we are bailing out of here. The next town on the line is actually Sugar Creek, but the main line doesn't stop there. The station has moved too far back. If you want to go there, you have to either take a commuter service, or occasionally the Gull will make a special stop there, which is the train down to Davenport. Runs from here to Davenport. Realize I left the signal overlays on, which I need to turn off, and I will in just a second. Also, because of the weird ways that the tracks cross the roads here, none of them actually have railroad crossings. So, oh well. Right, so most of them don't. I think this one does. Yeah, this one does. But I was being very careful to cut around whenever a train, or whenever a car decided to clip straight through the train. So here we are coming. Oh, train disappeared. Here we are coming across the bridge to the yard. Ah, there's the train, and the city. One of these older stone bridges. That's the roundhouse. We're already heading. We're already on a course for above the speed limit. And I get more than a little tempted to try and break the Mallard speed record, which I've done in this engine with this train before, but we don't quite have enough room between Sugar Creek and Branville, which is the next town and the one we're actually going to stop at. Those are 100-mile-per-hour speed signs designated for the main line only. Did I not turn off the HUD for this? Come on, me. Well, I guess I was trying to keep tabs on what speed driver's going. Oh, there we go. And here we go. We are well out of Troy now. On the big curve. Oh, here comes the Gull. Speaking of which. I think it's the off season, so it's a midday run. What time is this? Oh well, the time's all screwed up. Ignore the fact that I absolutely destroyed the speed limit here. I'm gonna bring this curve up to maybe 40 or 50 miles per hour when I get to it. I brought it down a very long ways and then realized it's damn near impossible to actually slow down enough. Especially when you're running the T1. And you just want to go 120, 140. But that was Sugar Creek right there, sort of suburbia-esque. It's where a lot of the workers from Troy or Davenport live. And here we are on the beach. Well, we're not really on the beach. We're overlooking the beach. The beach is down there to our left. And we are on the long, straight, level stretch that attaches Branville and Sugar Creek. Also where I can get up to my maximum speed, and I was not quite hell-bent on, but I really wanted to break the speed record, and I could have if I didn't bring the reverser as far down as I did right now. If I'd left it up a little further earlier, I would have been able to get there, because I got to, I think, 120 towards the end of this. But I decided to leave this section in because it's frankly really fun to run the T1 at like 100 and something miles per hour. It's really fun to run anything at 100 and something miles per hour, but I feel like it's extra special when you're doing it with a steam engine that really isn't supposed to do it. Also, I feel like I'm not going to do too much diesel running, honestly, because I decided to do a diesel run in order to clock some distance. And it is boring. You know, you sit there on like the second or third notch, depending how fast you want to go, and you just drive. I'm checking to see how far we are. We're about halfway there, and going incredibly fast. I don't think I ever... there's nothing really close to us. You can't tell exactly how quickly the scenery is whipping by, but it is. Trust me, it is. I did this on... I decided to go onto the big Britain route and break the Mallard speed record, where the Mallard broke the speed record. Did it pretty handily, got up to about 130. Probably could have gone faster, but decided to stop for a station. On the United States route, on the Northeast Corridor route, I got the T1 and train up to... No, it wasn't with train. Well, with train I got it up to 140, and then I started decoupling things and got up to about 188 before I ran it up a map. Although I'm sure I could have gone faster if I was a little more patient. Yeah, slowing down, I applied the independent brake. Pretty soon I'm going to apply the train brake, and we're going to come in for a stop in Branville. Almost undershot the station. Yeah, Johnson isn't a big fan of speed limits. He's pretty much just sort of proving that, hey, you can definitely go faster on the stretch track and nothing will go wrong, so... We're going to bring it to a stop where the train is about in the middle of the platform. The platform's in the middle of the train, more like, because the platform is so very short. And the doors open, and passengers get on, and passengers get off. And then we say goodbye to the Hawk. The Big Hawk. Which is, in this case, the West Hawk. And they're gonna go. He's gonna go link up with the railroad that attaches to the south of us, which I don't know what that would be. Maybe like Southern Pacific or something. I don't know. We're in like northern Washington. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Trainman out.